In this lesson, I will show you how to break down your external achievement standards into 3 main topics and each topic into their key points. So I will be using the Year 11 Acids and Bases External as an example throughout, and then we will then use our key points to create a study timetable. To find the key points in the external, you can use your notes you took in class, your workbook if you have one, a class textbook, and the NZQA website. On the NZQA website, you will find an outline for each external that tells you what can be covered in the exam. So to find this, go to nzqa.govt.nz and then down to NCEA subjects. From there, you'll need to scroll through until you find your subject. So in this case, we're looking for science. And then you'll need to click on your standard. So in this case, it's level 1. So we want to find the PDF achievement standard for the most recent year. So they are all under achievement standards. The most recent year is 2019. This PDF states the main concepts that make up the standard and gives a list of what can be tested in the exam. So for the acids and bases one, if you go down to point 5, you will see everything that you need to know and that can come up in the exam. And point number 6 tells you what acids and bases you need to know off by heart, and also tells you that if any other one is given, they will give you its ionic formula and name. As you go through your resources, just jot down the key points as you come across them. So these key points should just be one or a few words so that you know what they refer to. Also, don't write down absolutely every word you come across. Think about your key points and what they will cover. So for example, trends in the periodic table would cover groups and periods and atomic number and mass number. An electron arrangement wouldn't just cover the, say for example, 288. It would also cover how you draw atoms and how many electrons are in each shell. You just need to write the key points in a way that you know what they mean and what they cover. So once you have all the key points written down, you need to organize them into 3 groups. You will also need to consider how you will order these key points. You want them to increase in difficulty as you go down. You wouldn't learn balancing equations before you had learned how to write ionic formulae, because you can't balance equations without the ionic formula. So you will find that some key points could fit in more than one topic. Balancing equations could fit just after ionic formula because it's the next step, but it could also fit with the reactions of acids and bases as well as acid and metal carbonates, because we always balance those equations. So you just have to think about where it fits best for you and where it makes the most sense for you. You will then need to give each group a topic name, so something that reflects what's covered in that group. So here we've got atomic structure, acids and bases, and rates of reaction. You are then ready to fill in your study planner. So here we have an example of the Ultimate Study Planner subject breakdown. So we've got our topic, atomic structure, and then we've got the ordered key points for atomic structure. If you prefer to do this on a device where it's a little bit easier to edit and you've always got it in your phone, so if you know you lose paper, this could be an option. I have created the Ultimate Study Planner Trello board. If you want to find out how to get this Trello board and how to edit it and use it, I've created another video for that, which is in the second lesson. So you can pop over and have a look at that and also get the link to this Trello board. Once you've got your subjects broken down and in their planner, it's time to work out which key points you already know and which ones you need to revise. So to check if you really understand each key point, write down or say out loud everything you know about the key point, and then check your answers against your notes or a textbook to make sure you have covered everything. If you did, you can tick it off as done, and if not, you're going to need to think about when will you have time to revise that key point. Whilst this seems like a lot of work, the good news is you are already revising. Determining key points in the external and organising them into topics and really thinking about how one topic is connected to the next is studying. And recalling as much information as you can remember is actually creating new pathways in your brain that make it easier to recall your knowledge in the exam. Once you know which key points you can revise, you are ready to make your study timetable. So one thing to keep in mind is that this needs to be realistic. So if you currently do absolutely no revision, don't put down that you're going to study for an hour every single day and 2 hours on the weekend, because you can't make changes that big. Instead, write down that you're going to study 20 minutes a day, 4 days a week. And then the next week, increase that to 25 minutes for 5 days. It takes weeks to create habits. And so by starting small, you're actually going to stick to your plan because you're going to be able to achieve it. And that's going to actually create motivation to keep going the following week. When you're making your study timetable, you don't want to be too specific about exactly when you're going to study each day. Often you're told to write down the exact time and day you will study so that you've got an exact plan. The problem with this, though, is that things come up, plans change. The time you thought was free for study at the start of the week might suddenly become football practice, work, or helping family. You may have had 5 really intense subjects at school and 2 assessments, and you get home and your brain is fried and you're not in the right space for studying. Once you break your plan, it is way easier to break it a second time and so on. And then before you know it, that plan's just at the bottom of a pile of papers on your floor, never to be seen again. Instead, what you want to do is you want to work out when you have other commitments. So when you've got school or work or extracurricular activities, or if you have dinner at a specific time each week, or you have a group of friends that meet up every Sunday afternoon. So write down on a timetable when you have other commitments, when you're busy, and then look at it and think about when do you have free time. So when you add free time to your timetable, really think about when am I free that I'm going to be able to study. So for example, on a Monday after you've had a full day at school and then had work after school, you're not going to come home and then after dinner study. It's not going to be effective. You're going to be tired and you need rest. But on a Tuesday when you don't have anything after school, that would be a good spot to put in free time. If you start to look at your timetable and you notice that there's really not any space for free time, you might need to think about what can I give up? So can I cut back some shifts at work? Can I drop an extracurricular activity? Do I need to be meeting my friends 8 times a week? So then it may be a case of you have to make some compromises, especially as you get closer to the exam. On your study timetable, you do want to put down what topic you will be revising and which key points. You also want to add how long are you going to spend studying for it, as well as exactly what you will do to study. Will you use cue cards or do past papers or teach your siblings or a pillow? So in this example, we're going to spend 20 minutes answering NCEA question 1 from the 2017 paper, and then we're going to compare our answers with the mark schedule to work out what we still need to add. And then for a different key point, we're going to spend 40 minutes and we're going to make 20 cue cards in that time and swap it with a friend, and then we're going to revise using our friends' cue cards. And for another topic and key point, we're going to spend 30 minutes and we're going to join a study group, and I'm going to teach someone how to balance equations and they're going to teach me something else. So when you have this level of detail in your plan, it takes away the overwhelm. When you sit down, you're not thinking, oh, what am I going to study now? What am I going to do? How am I going to study it? How long will I spend? What should I cover first? And you're just going to end up opening up a book, reading through your notes, and forgetting it 5 minutes later. The other really important thing to put in your timetable are rewards. Think about what motivates you best. So it could be, if I tick off the first thing on my study timetable, I'm going to get to spend half an hour on social media. Or I'm going to get to go out for a surf or catch up with friends. And they motivate you to keep going and do it again because your brain is trying to get that next reward. But for some of you, you may know that you're more motivated by internal rewards. So that could be the idea of getting first in your topic, or getting into the course you want next year, or getting university entrance or excellence in the exam. And so in this case, you would put into your rewards, excellence grade or first in biology. Or it may be that you've been sitting there stressing about learning how to balance chemical equations. And so your reward is, once you've actually done this, you can get it off your mind and you can stop worrying about it. Now it is your turn to download the study planner and have a go yourself. I really suggest starting early, because the earlier you start in the year, the less you have to do each week. The other advantage is, if you've learned it throughout the year, you're not going to forget it all after exams. So it's not going to be like when you cram and then as soon as the exam's finished, it's gone and you have to relearn it the following year. So please start as early as possible, ideally now. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Best of luck in creating your own study timetable and with your exams.